Hello,
Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
good evening.
This is Pratiti. I'm working as an intern for Emomatrix in the psychology department. I'm a student of BA Honours Psychology from Daulat Ram College, Delhi University. On the behalf of the entire Emomatrix family, I welcome you for the interview session and would request you to briefly introduce yourself.
Okay, thank you, Pratiti, for actually giving me this opportunity. So, my name is Himantri Thapia. I'm actually a consultant, clinical, and a forensic psychologist. I did my master's in clinical and guidance counseling from Dehradun itself, and I did my forensic psychology, MPhil forensic psychology from National Forensic Sciences University, Gandhinagar. So it's a super specialty course in which we were taught about neuroclinical as well as forensic psychology. So we were working with the Department of Forensic Sciences, that is DFS and FSL, basically Forensic Sciences Laboratory, as well as we were working in hospital settings. So that's pretty much about me professionally. Otherwise, I'm from Dehradun, Uttarakhand, and I'm currently practicing in Dehradun itself. Yeah, that's pretty much
Right,
about
ma'am.
me.
Ma'am, what is your story of becoming a psychologist? As in, how was your journey from being a student to a professional psychologist, and what made you believe that this is the job that suits you the best?
There are various reasons why I took up psychology. First and foremost, thing, it's very, very interesting. It's an everyday science. We can apply the principles to understand behavior, to predict behavior. And human behavior is such an interesting thing. I mean, if you can predict it, there's nothing more like it. So that was the first thing. Second thing, psychology comes naturally. I can't say about others, but it's such an interesting subject. It's come so naturally to me. I find it very, very interesting. So in my class 12th, actually, I took up 11th, 12th, I took up psychology, and there was no looking back. I wanted to know more about human behavior, specifically abnormal psychology. That was clinical psychology intrigues me to the core. And once I got more involved with the psychology, with the research work, basically, there was no looking back. So I pursued my entire education in that. So the main reason behind, like the question you asked, was basically the subject in itself was so interesting, like clinical, in which I did my specialization as well. So that was it.
I too find psychology very, very interesting and very, very intriguing, and I do wish to continue my career in the field of psychology, just like you.
Must, you must.
Ma'am, can you also throw some light on how your initial practice was and basically the work environment and the challenges you faced as a fresh entry to the field?
Okay. So during my master's time, see, once we get into the masters, right, PG courses, you think that you know a lot, which is a big misconception. Okay, especially in the field of psychology, you cannot know too much or too little. It's just the more you get exposed, the more you get experience, the more you work, the better you get. Because psychology is one subject wherein once you start understanding things, you start applying it also, and that's the most dangerous part. You start applying all the things to yourself. A lot of people ask me this thing, you keep observing people, and I used to. And that was pretty exhausting initially during my master's time, during my post graduation time. That was one of the hassles that I think nobody teaches us as a student of psychology. That do not apply such things, such principles. You need to segregate your professional and your personal life. That thing is the most important part, I think. The segregation of your professional and personal life, and how not to let your patients or your clients, affect you. Because sometimes what happens is, when you don't draw a fine boundary between your personal and your professional work, it takes a toll on you. So that was one of the things that I found nobody taught us, and but I learned it through experience and over the years. That was one. Then other than that, work environment has been really, really good. To be very honest, I think everybody who studies psychology, they have that knack of understanding. So it is a very harmonious kind of environment where everybody understands each other. We discuss cases, we discuss patients, we discuss therapy. There's a lot of research work that we do. So that is the best part about psychology. I mean, it is a bunch of like-minded people coming together, working together, and you can actually understand what you're saying. I mean, when you say something, the front person understands because you're saying it from the context of psychological principles. So that is a very good thing. Other than that, work environment, I think it also depends where you're working, the location. Are you working in rural area, urban, hospital setting, private setting? So I worked in all those settings altogether. I worked in hospitals. Hospital settings are very professional, very sorted. We have our entire schedule fixed, which ward we'll be going, how we will be prepping, what all patients we have to see, the filing, the reports, and everything is very systemized, okay, very systematic in nature. While in private, it's not that systematic. We have little more liberty, but again, it depends on what kind of work culture you are in. So, but yeah, more or less, psychology gives us that liberty to practice. There's no set rules because every individual comes with different story, with different problems. So that is a flexibility. So it has its both pros, cons, pluses, minuses, everything. But overall, it has been a good journey for me personally. Very experientially also and personally also.
Good to know that you had such a good time from the beginning of your career itself as a psychologist and that you're enjoying what you are doing. So, while we are at that, I would also like to know how your current work setup looks like, how it has transitioned from the initial days, and basically, how does your day as a psychologist looks like?
Okay. So, as a psychologist, the most important thing is taking care of my mental health as well. So, in order to keep that, I take care of myself. So, and I think most of the psychologists do to keep their sanity intact because we are basically we are disposable bin for other people's emotions. We take in other people's emotions and process it. So, in order to do that, so as a psychologist, my day begins with meditation, a little bit of mindfulness. I love to teach, so I am also teaching, and that's morning routine that I have. I really like. I think that's the catharsis, or that's the expression of how I express myself. So I express while teaching, so that's fun. And then I practice. I do my freelancing. I'm not working right now with the hospital setting. I'm working with an organization called as PCFI, and I'm also working as a World Economic Forum global shaper. So post lunch is my practicing psychology and working for World Economic Forum in the evening hours. So I have patients that come. I do the follow through. We do the detailed case study. We do detailed report writing of it. Um, it's basically listening. So in the morning hours, I speak, and in the evening hours, I listen. But all in all, my clinical practice has been going very well. So I have a lot of people, because of the COVID times that is happening. So a lot of people want to have online sessions and therapy. So I'm giving that in the afternoon time. My day is basically packed, but I like it that way. Yeah, helping, trying to help people. So a lot of patients come, and it's little flexible because I'm working as a freelancer. Had I been working in hospital, it would have been a little different. But as a freelancer, it's easier that way. So it's according to my time schedule, and one person per day, and 2 to 3 hours with a person. That also includes assessment, like psychological testing, psychometric testings. All right. Then it also includes a lot of therapy, which it depends what type of problem the person is facing, and depending upon that, we basically formulate the therapy and sessions and activities that the person should incorporate and then follow through in that. That's pretty much it.
Right. So I'm glad that you talked about not just your work, but the toll on the mental health of the psychologists themselves that very few people talk about. So I'm glad that you also mentioned that. So while we are at that, I would also like to know that what part of your duration goes into working in labs and hospital settings and court hearings and places like that.
Right. So, when we work as a clinical psychologist, we basically work in hospital settings and in private clinics and NGOs and rehabilitation centers. So in that case, we have limited what you call exposure to the work scenario, like the courthouse and the hearings and all. But other forensic psychologists, yes, we do that. For now, like when I said that when I told you about my forensic setting thing, so as a forensic psychologist, while I was working with Department of Forensic Sciences, we were working as interns. So we were not allowed to go in a court hearing. But now I do that. We work with lawyers. We support them. We guide them. If the patient or the client or the suspect is being asked or is being told that they have to undergo psychological testings. When I say psychological testing in DFS, I'm referring to polygraph, I'm referring to narco, I'm referring to BIOS, I'm referring to layered voice analysis, which helps police and crime investigations to use that aid or to use that assessment as a corroborative evidence. When a proceeding comes to a standstill, when no evidence or no criminal investigation is not heading towards its course direction, then that is when my role as a forensic psychologist come in hand, basically come into play. That said and done, so yes, we do go, but it is only done when we have a legal notice, we have been asked to do that. Otherwise, we just aid as a counselor, or we just aid as someone who can um, give a work as a consultant with a law firm. We do have government openings, so we can work with FSLs as forensic psychologists. We have a separate division for that. So that is also a job opportunity that people can do. I personally am working only as a consultant because that's what I want. I want a flexible timing. So this is the best part about psychology. See, again, you can work in the government setting, you can clear competitive exams, you can either work personally, professionally, freelancer, the way you like it. While when it comes to clinical psychology, the clinical practice, that is very different because see, first and foremost thing, you need to be a licensed psychologist to do that. And even if you're not licensed psychologist, again, RCI not accredited, then also you should be working somebody who is an RCI licensed personal. And when I say RCI, it's Rehabilitation Council of India. I hope you know that. And so working under such a trained personal makes a lot of difference. Like I said, experience matter. That is it. And in hospital setting or in NGO or in any rehabilitation center, the work protocol is almost similar. You attend the clients, that empathy quotient has to be there. Then very very important, even before therapy, is proper case study history of the patient to be taken, and good caregiving. Sometimes people don't want to get therapy, they don't want any lectures, they just want somebody to hear them out. So that segregates a lot of problems. So that's pretty much work scenario. But yes, like I said, it takes a toll sometimes. But if you are interested, if you find human behavior interesting, if you like to help people, then this is the field.
Since you talked about your work, I would like to know a little more about what are some go-to or common assessment techniques that you use, and how do you administer these on a regular
Right.
basis?
Okay, so in clinical setting, we basically have psychometric assessments like self-report measures. We have personality tests like MMPI 16PF, right? Ising personality inventory. We have that. When it comes to assessment of various attributes like intelligence, aptitude, then we have to see what type of people are we, working on. Is the person literate? Then we do the test accordingly. Suppose the person is not literate, or it's a child, so how you have to do it. So we do Bhartiya test inventory. That's the most commonly used intelligence test, right? Vocational tests are there. Then aptitude test batteries, DAT is there. Army vocational aptitude tests are there. So when we talk about clinical setting, we use both formal as well as informal assessments. Like we do interview, case study, observation as informed, while we also do assessments, like I said, psychometric testing, self report measures, all those things, which includes proper specific standardized psychological tests that have good reliability, validity index, and the reports, whatever we assess, is actually correct and true. So that is one. While in forensic setting, like I said, it's very, very different. So interviewing skills has to be at the top notch because you have to extract the information from the suspects, from the clients and all. So that is one. So pre and post interview, very, very important. Then we are trained specifically in carrying out psychophysiological assessments, like your heart rate, your pulse, your galvanic skin response, because physiologically that's saliva, reaction time, all right, your brain mapping, the brain waves. So we do that using electroencephalogram, that is EEG. We also use ECGs to understand the circadian rhythm, the heart rate, how your body is actually responding when we are asking you all those things. So in forensic setting, it's more interesting because firstly, crime, law, all those things are there. And it's very like we get the actual factual data in clinical and self-report measures. People can fake it as well, right? We also use projective tests in clinical setting, like Rorschach and plot is there, thematic apperception test is there. Then we use sentence completion, WAT. There are a lot of tests that we do depending upon the requirement. What does a person need to be assessed on, and all those things are there. While forensic settings include both of these things, electrophysiological also, like narco, polygraph, and all, along along with the psychometric assessments. So it goes both the ways, because sometimes if the suspect has come to you in a forensic setting, and the suspect, we don't know whether the person is in their sanity, are in their correct state of mind. So first we will do the psychometric assessment like we do in clinical setting after taking the interview, and then we proceed ahead with the forensic things. So it's a mix and match of everything. Yeah, that's how we do it.
That was very insightful to hear. So, having heard all that, I would love to know that what motivates you to do the same work every day.
uh, I'm still like I said, it's human beings are very, it's a very interesting thing to know how people behave, why people do what they do, especially prediction of behavior. I mean, usually it's, that is, I think that is the most interesting thing, to be able to help people, to be able to understand somebody, and especially to be able to cater to the needs, if I can be of help, to someone, be it as simple as, be it for yourself, be it for someone in the family, or be it a stranger. So I think that is one thing that I really like to do, and I don't get tired. I like what I do. So I think that's what my calling was. So that's what
Great.
motivates me every day. Yeah. And psychology itself is so interesting. You like to read. There are so many researches being done in this field. Constant, new findings, new researches, new technology is being developed. So it's very, very interesting. Neuropsychology is such an upcoming field. NIMHANS has been, it has a special department for neuropsychology, which is one of its kind. Dr. C.R. Mukundan, he was our mentor in National Forensic Sciences University, who's also called as the father of neuropsychology in India. So there's so many things that he has pioneered, that we also as interns or as students were being studying. So I think that's what keeps me going. Understanding myself, making things better, helping people out. That's my calling.
It's great to know that you love your work and that you place psychology at such a high regard. So, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your time. It was a great session, and I wish you all the luck for your future endeavors.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you so